it's Rhonda here from Nelson Soapery. Today, let's get into a video all about making some gorgeous, gorgeous wax melts. So wax melts are so much different to candles because of course you don't have the wick in it because it's just a melt. So literally all you do is we're going to be making the wax and, you know, heating it up and doing all of that side of it. And then we're going to be popping it in the mold, of course. So I'm going to show you the process that I use, from the wax I use to melting it, how I melt it, how I color it, how I pour it, temperatures, and so on. Because as you all know, that's the tricky bit with making anything with a soy, wax. Soy wax is just one of those really, really tricky waxes that you just have to be careful with. All it is, honestly, is just making sure your temperatures are spot on. So to start with, obviously we need the wax. So I thought before I do it all, what I'm going to do is just talk to you about the waxes and what we need. So to do the wax melts, you know, you can make ones like this. This is the most popular at the moment. It's like a candy one, and literally it's just a silicone mold, and we're just going to pop in all of our ingredients into here once we mix it and do all of that. So you need one of these to start with. If you don't have that, you can use any kind of silicone one, you know, even like, you could even have like a silicone cupcake sort of, container as well. That's easy because then they just come out too. So to start with, like I said, we first need the silicone mold. Then what you would need is either you can use mica as your colorant, you can use a wax, just a wax block colorant as well. You can use a powder colorant. There's so many different colorants that you can actually use. You can even use something like this, which is, of course, your fluoro neon type powders as well to color it, because like I said, you don't have the wick, so you don't have to worry about the wick clogging up, which is really, really handy. And then you're going to need just a stick or something to stir it, or a spatula, whichever you prefer. And of course, the most important ingredient will be the fragrance oil. So do make sure you get a fragrance oil that you know works really well. You don't want to have a super light fragrance oil because you're depending on this fragrance oil to heat up and release the scent into the air. So that's what you need with melts. So anyway, let's get into it, and I'm going to talk about the wax and show you what we're going to do. Now to make them, of course, like I said, you need a silicone mold. So I have many, many molds. Any of these molds would be suitable. I mean, these are really tiny. So even if you want like a fun one, or you want something that's like a bit of a unicorn or something like that, these are just silicone molds that you just can get from your bakery shop. You can even get them from your department stores. And you can get them as low as a couple dollars, especially at Christmas. They'll do Christmas ones, fun ones. I mean, there is just so many. So it's endless what you can actually do. But I'm going to use your traditional candy mold because I do have little boxes that I pop mine into. So anyway, like I said, let's get going and make something a little bit fun, and I'll show you the wax we're going to use and so on. All right, so here we are organizing everything to start with. So like I said, I do my candy mold, which I'm going to wash this out a bit in a minute because it's had frosting. That's why it's got the little white bits of it. And this is just used for wax. But this is what it looks like. And the great thing with this is, you know, they're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So each person will get 5, you know, it'll be in one long candy row. And then they just snap off each piece. And then one piece will go into their burner. So that's something that is really good. And that's what they want to do. So there's many burners they can use. They can use an electric burner, or they can also use, you know, your typical basic burner, which costs like $5 to $10 to get one in a ceramic one. And all they're going to be putting is a tea light at the bottom, which will heat it up, and then pop their little melt on the top. And we will do a demo once we're finished, and I'll show you exactly how these actually work, just in case you don't know, because not everybody knows how these work as well. But like I said, we'll leave this one aside, and now let's talk about the wax. The wax is really, really important. Now, a lot of people think that you're going to be using a standard wax, but you're not. This needs to be a special wax. It's not just your normal soy or coconut soy wax. It needs to be one that's a little bit harder, because your normal wax that, you know, you would use for, you know, like your little candles like this. So this is just a pure pure soy wax that I would use in this, or you could use like a coconut soy or something. But for this particular one here, we actually need one that's a bit different. So this is what it looks like. It looks the same, but if you can see on here, it says tart wax, which that just means that, you know, you can put it in a tart mold, or you can put it in one of these molds, and it's going to hold up much better. To be honest, you could use your normal wax in these. Just remember that they will stay really soft, and they're not going to get super hard. So I do suggest that you use something that it's a little bit harder. So like I said, we're going to you know, make sure that we put all these together and make them gorgeous. And temperatures do matter. You can't just pour it in and hope for the best, because it will go frosted and really ugly. Now, so every particular wax is really, really different. So the wax that I'm going to be using, like I said, is from Aussie Candle Supplies, and it is in the family of the 464 wax as well. And if you go to Aussie Candle Supplies, you'll be able to see that they have this tart wax. If you want to use your standard wax, then just pop over to Pure Candle Supplies, and they have a coconut soy that is really great. And they also do 100% pure soy as well, which, as anyone knows, I absolutely love soy. It's one of my favorites. So this is what the wax is going to look like. It's really, really nice. It definitely isn't as sort of soft and as oily as the normal pure soy that you would use. It kind of feels a little bit harder. It almost feels like coconut shreds, because it's just that little bit harder. But like I said, we really want it to work well in these molds. So like I said, we've got the wax. The first thing I'm going to do with this wax here is we're going to just put it onto the burner. For me, everybody does theirs differently, but for what I'm going to be doing, we're actually going to be adding ours into just a little slow cooker, because that's how I do all of mine. So let me grab that and we'll start. Now, I know it looks super sad because it does have wax on it, but I'm sure all of you will know that clearly I'm a candle maker and it's messy business, even though I have wiped it out a bit on the inside. So now all we're going to do, like I said, is pop some of this into here, and then we're just going to melt it down. So if you're using a slow cooker, this is just a $25 one. All you can do is just keep it on low. So you just put your wax straight in there, put it on low, and you just wait for it to melt down, and that's all you do. It's really, really easy, very effective. I've used it for quite a long time, and it's really, really good. So like I said, let's we'll get a cup, and we're just going to pour it into here. So I just use like a little measuring cup, and as you can see, it's got the wax in the bottom, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to pour some in here. Look, you can weigh it up if you want to weigh it up to be exact. And the little candy mold that I showed you before, every single candy mold works out, if you fill it to the top, it works out to be 35 grams per each candy mold. So we're going to just pop all of this in here. Now this particular wax says that it wants you to pour it around 65 degrees. Some waxes want it to be cloudy. Some waxes want it to be hotter. The one thing you do have to remember though is we're pouring this into a silicone mold. So sometimes the silicone molds play a little bit different. But like I said, let's get going, and we'll see how we're going. And I'm sure you're going to absolutely love how we're going to do this, and you'll see how easy it is as well. All right, everyone, so in here we do have our wax, which is totally melted down. So let's just put this on here, and then what we're going to do is check our temperatures first. Temperatures are super, super important. So let's check what they are, and then we'll go from there. All right, so the temperatures here, if we have a look here, it's gone down and it's melted. So it's 98 degrees, which, yes, I have left it a little bit long, but that's okay, just to melt down. And then what we're going to do is put in some micas, because we can put in our colorants. We don't really want to put in our scents until it's about 70 degrees. And we're talking Celsius, not Fahrenheit. So, you know, you can put as much or as little as you want. I have 2 here because I want to actually mix it, and I'll show you how to do that, which gives a really pretty sort of waterfall effect. Just put a little bit on the stick and pop it in. Do remember what I said before, we can use mica because this is only going to be a melt. If you are using a candle, definitely do not use mica. And then look at these beautiful swirly kind of colors that you get in here. Make sure you're mixing it really, really well so it goes in. And then this is only going to be a light pink, even though it looks dark. And mica will sort of sink to the bottom. So even once it reaches the right temperature, do make sure you mix it around again and make sure it's perfect. So in this one here, I'm just doing a lipstick pink. And that one's from Sud Off, and then I'm going to do this other one which is from Sud Off, and this one is called Lavender Dream, so it's just a bit of a lavender kind of color. And let me just pop this one in here. So we are doing what's called my Blooming Rose today. Blooming Rose is one of a really popular one, and I'll also show you my new labels that I've done and how I sort of came to do them. For anyone that doesn't know, I absolutely love Canva. I use Canva all the time, and I design pretty much everything on Canva. It's really easy to use. It's totally free. You can have a paid version. And I have had the paid version before, which was really good, but there's so much you can do for free as well. And now look at this gorgeous color. I hope you can see it. It's really shimmery, and that's the difference with the mica, which is really, really shimmery. So like I said, we've got our two colors. We're going to let them go down to the right temperatures, and then I'm going to be adding in some Pure Candle Supplies Rose into that as well. And I also add a couple extras as well into this one. And then we're going to pop it in the mold. So I'll come back when it's all ready and the right temperature. All right, everyone. So these have met the right temperature. So let's give them a little bit of more of a stir. And then what we're going to do is just put in our fragrance, of course, because we want this fragrance in. Now I have worked out for the molds that I need, because remember we only have this, which we have 6 little holes in here. So I'm going to need about 120 grams in total. So that means I'm only going to be using 12 grams of fragrance. I have written it down, that's why I had to think about 12 grams of fragrance, and then 108 grams of wax, which is exactly what I've done in each. So there will be extra left over, and that's okay, because I just wanted to show you exactly how easy this is. So let's get and put the fragrance in, and I'll just put it on the scale and I'll bring it back in just a minute, and then let's get making. So in here I do have my little purple one, as we've seen before, which this one is called Lavender Dreams. I'm just stirring it up because I have actually added in my fragrance oil. When we're talking about fragrance oil as well, do remember there is different tier levels to fragrance oil. So sometimes you'll get one that's say $12 or $17, super cheap, and then other times you'll get one that's $65. So to give you an idea, the one that I use that I showed you in that bottle, which is the Rose from Pure Candle Supplies, that one costs $65 for that size. But I do have other ones that were $17 for the same size. So do remember that they are not all the same. And the reason I like those ones from Pure Candle Supplies is they are definitely a higher level. You can tell the oil even in it. You really can tell when you pour it, it doesn't look watery or anything like that. And so that's why I do like it. So make sure you keep stirring these up. And as I said before, do remember we're talking Celsius. So I have poured these in at about 70 degrees is where I've actually poured the fragrance. And then we want this to get to about 65 degrees because we're going to be pouring this into like a silicone mold. Do remember that some silicone molds are really sensitive and you can't pour some things in that are like too hot. So 65 would be, I wouldn't go any more than that with a silicone mold. And so now they're basically ready. So all we're going to do now is get our mold. So like I said, we do have our mold here. This is the one, so let me move the camera back so you can see a little bit better. And I'm just going to go this way. So we're going to do the rose. So what I'm going to do is get some rose petals and pop that in. And you may have noticed that I changed my top. And yes, I spilt wax on myself. So that's why I had to. So these are the gorgeous rose petals. And we're just going to sprinkle a few at the bottom. Because remember, the bottom becomes the top once we take it out. But you don't have to put these in. I mean, you can put whatever, but I wouldn't put a lot in because you've got to remember that this is going into a little melter at the end as well. So, but like I said, just, you know, a little sprinkle, which looks really, really pretty. And now from here, so this is what you can do to get a multicolor. So we're just going to take the spoon out. We're giving both of them a little bit of a stir. At the same time, just pour one at each end. So, you know, you're just going to sort of pour so that they run into each other a little bit. And then we'll pour a little bit of this one and a little bit of that one till we get to the top. And the same with the next one. Let's just pour them in. And it will give a beautiful kind of color as well. And let's keep going. And these ones are just going to be so, so pretty. And we might have to make up a bit more. Maybe I didn't calculate it properly. But anyway, that's fine. And look how cute these ones look. So I'm going to make up a little more off camera and I'll put them in. But don't they look so, so beautiful? And you will notice some of the flowers will move. But that's okay. Don't worry about that. And they're going to look absolutely gorgeous. Do make sure that you don't take them out of these molds until they're ready. That is really, really important because I see lots of people trying to get them out and then they break them and everything else. You can also, if you want, use a heat gun and, you know, warm up the mold before you pour it in. But I never do that. I don't even bother. It's too much effort. So anyway, and let's leave these to dry and then we will come back. But in the meantime, I thought I'd show you something that I've been doing at the moment. So I'll move that out the way. So for starters, when I had them, you know, I used to just do them in plastic. Then I've got these beautiful boxes, which don't they look gorgeous? And then I started doing these labels and I thought, look how boring that looks. So anyway, on my Cricut, along with Canva, I've made these new ones and look how beautiful they look. And all I've done is printed these on just printable paper from Stanley Packaging, which you can definitely do that. And I'm going to get one of the sheets to show you. So this is what it looks like. I've just printed out on there and then of course they come off and then we're going to just pop them all in the box. So after I've finished and this is all dried, I'll bring you back and we will box them all up and I'll show you. Also at the back, you do need to pop something like this just to say your directions on the back and what's in it and so on. And then just at the very end, I just put a little batch number for my own reference more than anybody else's. But these are all gorgeous. We're going to let these do their little bit and then we will come back. So here is all of the different little bits that you can put on top of melt. So I have some rose petals, some calendula petals that are really good. There's also some lavender buds, some chamomile just in there. And then of course there's some little blue petals there and rose petals at the end and a little bit of rosemary. So hopefully this will just show you. These are a few things that you can also add into your melts just to make them a little bit fun. All right, everyone, so these are totally dry and let's take them out. When you take these out, you do need to be a little bit careful. Just pull away at the edges and then we're just going to pop them out of the little molds and then we will wrap them and put them in the box. So as I said, this one here is the blooming rose. So we're just going to very carefully undo it because we don't want to break this. And the whole idea of the box is to keep it from being broken as well. And look how cute they are. They come out really nice and they just look so, so lovely. And like I said, the roses will move to the top and the bottom, but don't worry about that too much. Then all I do is I just have my little plastic bags here. These ones, they're just a candy bag actually. You can get them from any department store. And we will see, they're not that easy to open. And the reason I put them in these is so that if it melted in a letterbox or anything like that, that they're still in that, because we are, like I said, we're going to be popping them back into the box as well. So what you can do with this is, you know, literally just put a little bit of sticky tape, seal them up, that's it. So I'm going to seal them all up, we'll pop them in the box and I'll let the camera roll so you can see exactly what I'm doing. ones have been packaged up and they're looking gorgeous. And upon weighing them, I have seen that they're actually 45 grams, not 35. So anyway, somebody's getting a little extra grams, aren't they? But that's okay. I'll fix that for next time. And now here I do have just a little melter that I've actually bought just to show everybody. Because as I said, I'll do a demo because not everybody knows about melts. So now if you have the melts, these are just a different particular one I've already made in the past. So all you would do is take off one piece, just snap one piece off, pop it in the top in here. Look, in this one here, they could put two if they want because they fit. And now all we're going to do is, we'll just move this aside so it's safe. Make sure you're telling people to be on a flat surface away from, you know, any dangerous curtains or anything. And then we're just going to light the bottom, which this bit here that you put on the bottom is just a typical tea light. It's a little cheap tea light. And what that's going to do is heat up the bottom, heat up this, and then make the room smell absolutely gorgeous. So let me just light this one up. So we just want to light the bottom, and then this is literally all we're going to do. And then like I said, this bit here will start to melt once the heat gets to the top of this, and ta-da, that's it. We have totally finished. So let's just do a bit of a recap on what we've actually done today. So on this, like I said, I'm using a Tarte wax. And this one here, it's like a 464, which is your typical soy one, but it's the Tarte one. And I actually bought mine from Aussie Candles. But like I said, you can also go over to Pure Candles and use a different wax if you want. Just remember that your normal pure soy or coconut soy will be quite a softer wax and harder to get out of the mold and harder to keep nice and hard. So that's the reason why you'd use a Tarte wax. And the Tarte wax is soy as well, so you don't need to worry too much. And so like I said, we've done that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to heat it up to at least 70 degrees, which is our wax. Once it's 70 degrees, then we're going to add in our fragrances. Mix it for a minute or 2 minutes. And then after that, you know, we're going to let it cool down to 65 degrees, and then we're going to pour it into the molds. And that's it. That's all we need to do. So nice and fun and really easy, and make sure you put your colorants in when the wax is quite hot at about 70 degrees. And when we say degrees, I'm talking Celsius because we're in Australia and we don't use Fahrenheit here, we use Celsius. But for anyone in another country that's using Fahrenheit, there's plenty of calculators out there. You just put your numbers in the calculator online, just check out some free ones, Google it up, and it's nice and easy. So thank you so much everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed our little video today. And until next time, be kind, and I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.